what a crazy term 6 was. It was a crazy ride, and I mean that literally and figuratively. If you're new here, my name is Jocelyn, and this is our first year homeschooling. I homeschooled my 5 and 6-year-old this year, and this is our term 6 review. I don't even know where to begin. Term 6 was, it was only 6 weeks long. We do 6 6-week terms, but it felt like it was 6 months. It was a crazy term, you guys. I am going to start at the beginning. I'm going to start with things, not personal, but life things, and then I will get into school things, and then I'm going to get into a really fun project that we started, unintentionally started, but I'm going to get into that at the end and kind of wrap up everything that we did in term 6. We did do school through Carnival week, but we did attend, so Carnival starts, it goes pretty much all month. It has events, it has pageant, like Carnival Queen, Carnival Princess, things like that. It's got different events for kids. We pretty much missed all that because we were in Ohio, but when we came back, so Carnival starts with boat races, which happens on a Sunday, which is my son's all-time favorite event. It is what it sounds like. You go to the waterfront and you watch boats race. Different boats, different engines, things like that. They all race each other. They go around an island, and that's it. They have a car show, motorcycle show happening in the background, which my son likes to look at. People walk up and down the waterfront being social. Everybody dresses up. So that was on Sunday. So starting on that Monday, we have what we call Village, and Village goes all week, and it is live music events. So every night there's a different theme, and they have artists come from all over the world to perform. Attached to Village, you have Children's Village, which is rides and food. My kids live for Village every year. We go one night, and it is their special Village night. They go on the rides and they have a blast. On Wednesday, you have Food Fair, which is local foods, local drinks, natural juices, which is what I love, bar drinks, things like that. Thursday, you have what we call Juve, and that is traditionally what happened. People would go to Village the night before, and then they would go up the road starting at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they literally just walk up the road, the main road, and you've got water trucks. These trucks have music playing, and you have your group, and you dance, and you get dressed up. The costumes tend to be a little bit risque, and the dancing tends to be a little bit risque for what I want my kids to be around. Other people take their whole family. It's really whatever you feel comfortable doing. So that is the big event for Thursday. On Friday, you have Children's Parade, and then you also have the horse races. So Children's Parade goes up Main Street, and it is supposed to start at 11, but island time, it starts maybe 12, 1 o'clock. And then all of the kids that have put in so much work go up the road. So we like to go and support the kids. I personally love Children's Parade. I love to see all the hard work that the kids have put in. So that is on Friday. And then on Saturday, which is the big day of Carnival, is the Adult Parade. Everything on island is closed. Adult Parade is the famous parade with the feathers and the costumes and the dancing and the music. We did go this year, but we did not stay as long as we usually do. After Carnival, I put off my grocery shopping a little bit because, like I said, on Carnival week, a lot of things are closed. A lot of people aren't doing like regular life things. So I put off going to the grocery store for a couple days after Carnival and waited until work was back in, school was back in, and then we went to the grocery store so that it would be a little calmer. And when I was driving home, so we drive on the left here, so the driver's seat is in the same spot as in the States. So the driver's seat is on the left, but we drive on the left-hand side of the road. So when you're driving, your person is close to the edge of the road. So we're driving up the mountain, and I come around a blind corner of the mountain, and a boulder is rolling down the side of the mountain, and I can't stop the car in time, and we actually go up and over this boulder and skid up the road and come to a dead stop. And we are like on a blind corner, right? So, but we were literally stuck up on top of this boulder in the road. So I called the police. There just happened to be, I don't know where these men came from. There happened to be men across the street. And they were kind of like telling traffic to slow down. This is a very busy road on Island. And I'm just stuck here with the kids on this boulder, like on this busy road after a blind corner on a mountain. So I call the police, and these men are helping me direct traffic. So the police show up. Out of nowhere, this man comes and says, I got it, I will get it. And he goes under my car and he picks up this boulder. I mean, this thing is like, it's pretty big and it's pointed. So he says, I got it. So he goes under and he actually like moves this boulder from underneath my car. I'm able to move my car. We moved the car off the side of the road. Mind you, I have a whole car full of groceries and my AC was broken. So it was a very stressful afternoon. It turns out that somebody was doing construction up the mountain and the excavator was knocking rocks like over the edge of the hill and not realizing it. They had barriers further down the mountain, but they didn't have it where they were doing the construction. Even the police officer was like, we need to move our cars. I don't want to get hit by a boulder. So anyway, so we moved the cars, did the police report. She asked, can you drive home? I said, well, I could drive up here. You know, I didn't turn off my car. I didn't want to not be able to turn on my car because I felt that rock. Like we hit the rock, went over the rock, and I felt it go down my car. So I was able to drive home. The next day, my husband took the car for a drive and the car would not go over 20 miles an hour. When he went to turn it on the next day to take it to the car mechanic, it wouldn't turn on. It was blowing black smoke. It wouldn't turn on. If it did swing, it turned right back off. So my car is dead. So I don't know if you saw that little meltdown video I had at the beginning of the month, because I wasn't able to leave my house for like 4 or 5 days because I didn't have a car. My car was dead, which I mean, I'm fine staying home, but like, it's one thing when you just choose to stay home and it's another when you're forced to stay home. And then on top of that, you know, so anyway, that happened. And then that next week was actually my 40th birthday and my best friend was coming down with her family and we were going to go on a staycation and I didn't have a car. It was just a very stressful time. So all of this, like I'm trying to be excited about my birthday and like my best friend coming and stressing out about not having a car and like her whole family's going to be here and our family is going to need a car to ride. And it was a lot. But all of that being said, they did arrive and we had our staycation. We had an amazing week. We stayed at a resort. And I know I've taken trips to Ohio and things like that, but this was the actual first vacation that I think I've taken in years. I mean, we just laid by the pool, we laid by the beach, we went snorkeling, we saw turtles, and we just had like a really great time. And I needed it bad. All of that being said, we did take off school that week that we stayed at the resort. We didn't do any school. We just had a great time. She has kids that are my kids' age. And all of us just had a really, really great time. And I want to live at that resort. So when I win the lottery, that's where I'm going to be. That's not all. When I say we had a crazy ride, we had a crazy ride. At the end of the month, so my friend leaves, we had a great time, my friend leaves, and we fall back into the swing of things. We're doing school, yada, yada, yada. One night we were coming home from one of my daughter's activities. My husband was in Puerto Rico for work. And my car, the car that was my husband's car, starts making all these noises. I'm like, oh my God, I can't handle this. I literally can't handle this. So I call him. I said, this is what's happening. Like, what's going on? He said, okay, we'll go to the mechanic now and see if they can check it out for you. So I turned the car to go to the mechanic and the whole car just, I said on the phone, I said, nope. something just happened and we are out of commission. We were in a neighborhood, so I pulled over to the side of the road. Thankfully, we were in a neighborhood. Oh my God. And he said, okay, get out of the car, check this tire, check that tire. And one of the tires was being held on by one lug nut. One. And it wasn't even on all the way. So my husband's in Puerto Rico. So he's like, okay. Like, I can't even, like, my guardian angels have been working overtime this month. Like, thank you to my guardian angels. I mean, so anyway, so he had a friend come and try and put lug nuts on for my other tire just so we could get home. And they were all broken. So I had to actually call a tow truck. At this point, it's like 7:30 at night. I had to call a tow truck. He stayed with me. Thankful to this man. Thankful to all these random people. This is one thing I love about island life. All people come, they help you. If you need it, they help you. They're there. So he stayed with us while the tow truck came. The tow truck came, towed my car up to my house. And my husband came home from Puerto Rico the next day and was able to replace all the lug nuts and get everything put back together. But like, I am scared to drive. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, when things happen and people are like, they get that disorder, where not disorder, that thing where they have to stay in their house and they don't want to go outside of their house. They're scared to leave their house. That's how I feel about driving right now. Like, any little noise that happens in my car, I'm like, what's happening? I call my husband. I'm like, this is happening. Is this okay? He's like, you're okay. Everything, I've checked it. Like, he has checked my car multiple times since the tire almost fell off. I mean, oh my God. We are all okay though. I have to focus on the positive, on my blessings that we are all okay, but I don't go anywhere anymore. Like, I just want to stay home. So let's go ahead and get into, I know that was a very long, crazy story of what happened with our month, but let's go ahead and get into our actual school and how we ended with the actual curriculum. I had to go back through my planner because so much stuff happened that I couldn't even remember, like, where we started the term and how we finished it. So we did take one field trip. One of the things I love about being here is that the National Park Service actually offers field trip opportunities, and they have a whole list of field trip opportunities that you can sign up for. And I have a homeschooling friend she organizes them. This was our second field trip that we've done with this group, and it was a seashore walk. And we walked along the coastline of St. John and looked at different sea creatures in the water with a national park ranger. And then we did a picnic lunch at Annaberg Plantation, which is a sugar mill. We have just had the greatest time on these field trips. Let's get into the actual, we're gonna start with language arts, and then I'm gonna get into math, because math was, like, in its own self, a long road in term 6. All right, let's start with pinwheels. My daughter is doing year 1, level 2 of pinwheels. We started this level. She's doing very well with it. I'm really impressed with her print and her comprehension of what we are learning. She really loves learning about punctuation and making the correct, with your voice. I can't think of what it's called, but like when you ask a question and your voice goes up, or when you have an exclamation. And she's really enjoying reading sentences that have exclamation and question marks so that she can change her voice. We also started with her, they do a thing called invented spelling. This is supposed to help with their confidence and transferring the thoughts that are in their head onto paper. So she wrote Oz is missing, which, I mean, this is her first time ever doing this, and I didn't help her. And then she wrote Oz is on your head. So they just have to write how they think it's spelled. And I mean, this is, for her first time, I was very impressed. And then in her fashion, she kind of got bored with it, so she just wrote their names the next time. But she's doing really, really well with pinwheels, and she's having fun with it. My son is 1 unit away from finishing year 1, level 2. That is the QU sound. He's been doing really, really well, and he just needs a little bit of review, I've noticed, just on some basic concepts. But overall, he's done really, really great too. All right, so exploring the world through story. We are still chugging along through that. We're at lesson 21. The kids are enjoying the stories that we're reading. They like the questions. A lot of the map work is review for them because we did the core knowledge geography studies, and it went over a lot of this, like what are the continents, what are the oceans. So I have kind of changed up some of the questions, just like it says, you know, what is your street address? I have them memorize phone numbers and things like that. So some of the questions I've kind of edited so that it is a little bit of a challenge for them, but this is still a win in our book. All right, for handwriting, my son finished up his printing book and moved in, my son finished up letters and numbers for me, and he moved into my printing book. He does not like handwriting. He doesn't want to do handwriting. My main thing for him is just doing proper letter formation. Sometimes he kind of just does what he wants to make a letter, and I want him to be able to do it correctly. So we do take our time. I work with him on the printing because he just wants to rush through it. So we are continuing with my printing book here. I will say though that next year, once he finishes with this, I will not be going into another handwriting book because Pinwheels does have a lot of writing in it. I feel like if he gets through this and we practice letter formation, that he'll be fine doing the printing in Pinwheels, just sticking with that. My daughter is doing letters and number for me, and her handwriting I have no issue with. She's doing really, really well with handwriting. She loves doing this book. She will sit down and just plug through the pages. I mean, she just started this book, already over halfway through it. But I am not concerned about her handwriting. I think for a 5-year-old, her handwriting is really, really nice. So once she finishes with this, I'm not going to get her the yellow book. I'm just going to let her do her handwriting in Pinwheels. All right, so for reading, I was waiting on these books to arrive. I did ship my books back from Ohio. So it did take a little while to get these in the mail. So I had my kids read. My son read The Cat in the Hat, and my daughter read Hop on Pop. Most of this she was able to get through, but some of them was a little bit of a challenge, but we worked through it. It took us, I mean, this is a lot of pages, so it did take us a little while to get through these books. And then my son, the same thing, The Cat in the Hat. It did take us, I want to say, probably 2 weeks to get through these books, but these were fun reads for them. My daughter is back in The Runt Pig. She is reading, she is almost finished. She's probably got maybe 2 or 3 stories left in The Runt Pig before she moves on to Cobweb the Cat. I am having my son reread Cobweb the Cat just for confidence building. He can read one story in one sitting. And a lot of the stuff is, I've noticed his fluency is really picking up. So I think that this is doing well for his confidence and his fluency. So that is our reading. All right, we did Me and My Place in Space from Little School of Smiths. This was really the only extra that we did for term 6. I really didn't want to overwhelm the system. And this was a fun unit. We did not finish it. We still have 3 planets left. One of the things that we did in here that they really loved was an Oreo activity where you bite the frosting and make different phases of the moon. We also, in the planners that I made for them, we did moon cycles, and it does get dark here pretty early. So like all year round, we are dark by 7 o'clock every night. So we were able to see the moon, and they did moon phases. They decorated for my birthday. That was not the moon. So they enjoyed doing that. And I had an app on my phone that showed us in detail what the moon was going to look like that night. So they enjoyed looking at that as well. We did the this. Like I said, we still have 3 planets left. We didn't really do a lot of the activities that they had for each of the planets. For the most part, we would read the book. I have a couple of space books that we would look at the pictures, and then I actually went onto the NASA website, and they have kids things for the different planets, and they enjoyed reading through that. For Mars, for example, they had like a rover game, so they played that. So then the other thing they enjoyed doing was keeping the solar system fact book. So they have you doing different crafts for the different planets and the sun and the moon. So we did do those. And then once we got to Mars, I didn't have some of the materials. I can't remember. I think the Mars one was asking for shaving cream, and we don't have shaving cream. So I did it with coffee filters, and the kids really, really loved trying to replicate Mars with coffee filters. So they put markers on the coffee filter, and then I sprayed it with water, and then it kind of all bled together. So we did that for Mars, and then they loved this so much that they asked if they could do it for Jupiter. So we did it for Jupiter, which was really, really cool. And then they write down their facts for what they learned about the planet. This was a nice program. Again, we didn't really do everything that it asked us to do, but we did. The kids are learning. I also put an app on my phone where we can go out at dark and put my phone up into the sky and see what stars are what, see the constellations, and then we can also see Jupiter and Mars right now in our early night sky. So that's pretty cool that the kids can see the 2 planets. My husband is actively looking for a telescope. So if you have any good telescope that are affordable, but good telescope recommendations, please leave them down below, because we are looking for a good telescope. All right, that was our science. And now we are going to get into math. I'm going to start with Life of Fred. We finished Life of Fred. The kids really love Life of Fred. We will be continuing this next year. This is just a fun, they really like the questions at the end of the chapter. So this was a good one this year. Math with Confidence. My daughter is chugging along Math with Confidence 1, and I actually stopped her after week 8 because week 9 started subtraction, and I did not want her to start a new concept like subtraction with only a week to go in school. So we stopped Math with Confidence about a week early, and I just let her do mathematical reasoning. So I bought this actually for the summer to keep them both on their toes with math for the summer. But we did start this for her a little bit early. I just had her do 2 pages a day, and she's really enjoying this. So that was her with math with Confidence. There's really no issue I'm having. She's just breezing through it. She really, really loves her Math with Confidence. For my son, Math with Confidence. While we were in Ohio, I was noticing a lot of pushback with him on math. Like, to be honest, I thought it was just because he didn't want to sit down and do it because he wanted to go play with his cousins. Like, every day we did school, he's like, can we just be done? I want to go play with my cousins. So I didn't put too much inventory in the fact that he didn't want to do math. However, when we came back here, we hit a wall. I would bring Math with Confidence out. We would start to go through the lesson, and he would just shut down. I mean, didn't want to do it, tears at some point. I did go up on the Facebook and said, y'all, I need some help. This is what's happening. And I did get some really, really good suggestions, like maybe try writing for him. I was doing the review sheet at the beginning, and then I was going into the lesson, and I was having him do the worksheet at the end, just to kind of break up the worksheet so that it wasn't like he was sitting down to do all of the workbook. And people were like, oh, well, if he hates doing the workbook, take the workbook and just do it all at the end, or do 1 page one day and do another page the next day. So I started doing that. I started putting all the workbooks at the end, but that didn't help. It was like we would start doing lessons, and it was like he had never learned anything in math before. I mean, he couldn't give me basic answers to addition. He couldn't give me, I asked him to find certain numbers on the 100 chart, and he couldn't find them. It was like he was totally shut down. And I was like, okay, something is not working here. he was getting frustrated. I was getting frustrated. I thought maybe he was just done for the year. Like he was just burnt out and wanted to be finished. So like I was at a loss. So I said, okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break from Math with Confidence. And I printed off these 100 charts for him to practice. This is my daughter's. I printed off these 100 charts where they're like little puzzles where they have to, there's different colors and they have to find the number and color it in. So I did this for him and he really, really loved this. I had him do this a couple days so that he could just practice. Like I know he knows his numbers to 100. So I was really confused when I would give him a number like 52 and he was at a complete loss on how to find it. So he really enjoyed doing this and it just reaffirmed that I knew that he knew his 100 chart. So we kept up with this for a couple days and I was thinking, well, maybe, like I said, maybe he's just burnt out. So I brought out these boxes. I had been given this and I found this at a thrift store and I just pulled out, this is just basic addition, like 1 to 10 addition. I think it's 1 to 10. Oh, 1 to 9. Practice addition facts 1 to 9. And I went through a bunch of cards with him and he knew the answers like right off the bat. So when he didn't know how to do the basic math in the workbook, he just didn't want to do it or it just was blocked. I don't know. So I knew he knew his addition. And then I pulled out the subtraction and I pulled out the subtraction 0 through 10 because this goes up through 12. So I pulled out 0 through 10 and for the most part, he was fine with this subtraction. It did take him a little bit longer than the addition, but I just wanted to see where he was with subtraction. If maybe that's why he was shutting down in the workbook because the subtraction, because it was subtraction that we were in, that he just was shut down with, like blocked. And he did fine with the subtraction. Again, it took him a little bit longer, but he would sit there and he'd look at the card and he'd give me the right answer. So I'm like, okay, I know he's doing okay with the subtraction. I know he's doing okay with the multiple or the addition. So I was like, buddy, what is going on here? And he didn't want to give me any answer. He just didn't want to do Math with Confidence, which isn't a, like, I can't justify, okay, well, you just don't want to do it. Okay, that's not a good enough response. Like, I need to know why you don't want to do Math with Confidence. And he couldn't give me an answer. So I decided to give him a break from Math with Confidence. And I brought out mathematical reasoning, which again, I bought for the summertime to kind of keep them engaged with math over the summer. And I said, all right, bud, we're just going to do this for a week, for a straight week. And you're going to do 2 pages a day. If you want to do your 100 charts, you can do your 100 chart. But we're going to just do this. We're going to do 2 pages a day for a week. He loved it. I mean, loved it. He would ask, you know, when can we do my math book? So I knew it wasn't a math thing. So as we're going through this, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just, I started to notice like on some of the channels that I follow on YouTube that once people hit that section in Math with Confidence, that other people were having kind of like hitting a wall. So I thought, well, maybe it's that part of Math with Confidence. Case Note does say at the beginning of the unit, like they don't need to master this, they just need to be exposed to it. So I said, okay, well, let's go back to, you know, I went to the end of a unit. I asked him the questions. If he knew it, we'd move on. So I went back to like unit 10 or week 10. And as soon as I brought it out, he just was like, again, shut down. And this is stuff that he knew. This is, you know, the basic subtraction and addition stuff that he already knew. And he just shut down. So I took him to the side. We did review in Math with Confidence for about a week where we went back. I didn't have him do any workbook. He did ask to do this. So we would go back and we would kind of do a couple lessons of review to just kind of make sure that we were comfortable with the basic subtraction and addition. And he did fine with it, but he didn't want to do it. So And we were getting to that point of just pulling teeth every single day. And again, he was getting frustrated and I was getting frustrated. So I took him to the side and I said, all right, buddy, you have to talk to me. Like, you're telling me you don't want to do math, that you just don't want to do it, but you want to do this. So that's telling me you still want to do math. You just don't want to do math with confidence. So can you tell me what it is about math with confidence that you don't want to do? And he said, Mommy, I just don't want to play any more games. I don't want to do the games. I don't want to do the workbook. Just, you open the workbook, you do the problems, and then you do the game, and it's the same problems, and then you do the workbook, and it's the same problems, and I just don't want to do it anymore. Like, I just want to get in, I want to do my work, and I want to be done. That's why I like this. I was like, okay, all right. So this is like really surprising to me because he is my games child. He can sit down and play games. He loves games. He loves card games. He loves board games. He loves games. So, and my daughter is the one that gets bored with games easily. And she is loving Math with Confidence. When we get to play a game in Math with Confidence, she's like, yes, I get to play a game. And funny enough, my son asks to play games with her. So anyway, so they will actually play games, like her games together. He just doesn't want to play his games. But anyway, that's all beside the point. So mathematical reasoning was a win for him. Math with Confidence, it's to the point where we went through and we did review, we went back, we switched gears. I split up the workbook. I was splitting up the lessons. I didn't want us doing, 40 minutes of math a day. So I was splitting the lessons in two just so that we could get through just 20 minutes. But even that was getting to be a struggle. So I said, all right, I think it's time that we maybe look at a different approach. If he's not enjoying the games, if he doesn't like the way that the workbook is set up, he doesn't want to do review, we need to be looking at a different program. I actually went on to Rainbow Resource and they have consultants. So they have curriculum consultants. So you can actually go on there and tell the consultants, what you're looking for, what kind of learner your child is, what problems you're having. So I went in and I said, we're doing Math with Confidence. This is his struggle. This is what he's saying he doesn't want to do. And she came back and she said, okay, well, you can cut out the review with Math with Confidence and just do the lesson and then just do pieces and parts of the workbook. So she did end up recommending a couple of other programs as well, one of which was Math Mammoth. The other one, I can't remember what the name was, but it was really expensive and I didn't really love the look of it. So I went on to Math Mammoth. I printed off specific sample lessons. I stapled it and I gave it to him. I said, this is what we're going to do this week. We're going to see how you like this program and then we're going to talk at the end of the week. So I want you to keep an open mind. So every day we went through, we did the sample lesson and there was no complaints from him. He just went through and he did it. And I said, okay. So at the end of the week, I sat him down and I said, you can have next year. I already have it. We have Math with Confidence too. Or you can do Math Mammoth, which is the sample packet. And he said, Math Mammoth. I want to do Math Mammoth. I said, okay. So I went on, I bought the bundle of level 1 through 4 because I actually am not sure where he lands in the whole spectrum of Math Mammoth. I don't think he's ready for level 2 of Math Mammoth because we did not complete level 1 of Math with Confidence. So they actually in the bundle give you test units. So I printed off the tests of level 1A and I had him go through it, and because of the way that Math Mammoth is set up, they introduce concepts differently than Math with Confidence. So they have vertical addition and triple digit addition, and they do the number lines. And so when I gave him the test for 1A, he struggled with some of the concepts. He knew the math if I did it differently, but he struggled with some of the concepts. So I just said, we're gonna go back and we're gonna do, I printed off 1A, some of the lessons from 1A, introducing some of the concepts, and we have just spent the last couple weeks going through 1A concepts. We don't do all of the problems. I go through and I highlight the problems that I want him to do. But he has been enjoying this so much more. So he just needed something that was basic, laid out, straight to the point, get in, get done. He did not want to play games. He did not want to do all of the review and things like that. He just wanted to get in, get his work done, and get out. And this has been so much better. And he is enjoying math again. So that is our curriculum. So we did not finish pinwheels for either child. We did not finish math for either child. We did not finish our space, and that's okay. We are going to just keep moving along when it's time to move along. So the fun and exciting thing, this video has turned out to be very, very long, and I told you too that we are in for a crazy ride, so I hope you're still with me. But living in the Virgin Islands, we struggle with power outages. So there was a couple days, and by a couple days I mean like 3 or 4 days, where we had no power more than we had power. So when we have no power, we go outside. And we were down in the yard, and my kids' like new favorite activity is to try and catch tarantulas down a tarantula hole. It's a thing. So they were doing that, and I had been seeing when I go feed the chickens, if you don't know, I have chickens. I have chickens. So I was feeding the chickens while they were fishing tarantulas, and I kept seeing these little pieces of pottery between our chicken coops, because we have 3 different chicken enclosures, and chickens scratch. So we also have wild chickens that scratch between the chicken coops. And I would go down and feed the chickens, and there would be these little pieces of pottery on the ground, and it's old pottery. And so that day that we were down there without power, I got a rock and I just started scratching at scraping at the dirt between these chicken enclosures, and I found a number of more pieces of pottery. So a little bit of background about me. I majored in anthropology with a focus in archaeology, and so this is like my thing, like digging in the dirt and finding treasures. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. So I'm just sitting there, I get a chair and I just start scraping. I mean, I did not have proper tools at all. I mean, I was using a rock. So my field instructors would have had like a heyday with me. So about our property, our property is next to an old sugar mill. According to my husband, our property was the carriage house for that. So anyway, so I'm scraping at this dirt. I'm finding all these pottery pieces. The kids come over. What are you doing? What are you doing? I said, well, you know, I keep finding these pottery pieces. So they decide to get their own chairs and dive right in. And so we're over there scraping away and finding old nails. We're finding more pottery. We found an old bottle, the top of an old bottle. So we have now like an entire excavation area in our backyard. My kids are hooked. They are obsessed. Every day. When can we go dig? When can we go dig? They are up here cleaning. They had my husband go get wire brushes so that they could clean off the metal. So I'm just going to show you some of the things that we have found. So these are the pottery pieces that we have found, and we have found quite a bit. It's just old pottery. This had a handle. And my kids are like, Mommy, this had a handle. You can see where the handle was. This is something I told them. And it all has the same pattern on it. But again, it's a number of pieces. Here's like a rim of the pottery. I don't know if you can see it. So that's what we've been doing in the afternoon, is digging. We found, here, this is our organized bin of things. We found a bunch of old brick. We have found old lead. This is like really heavy. Like this is probably at least 1 to 2 pounds. It's really heavy. This is like discarded lead. We found a very old shotgun casing shell. And then this is the bottle here. It's an old bottle. We've also found a number of organic materials, so like old animal bones, coral, seashells, and we are not near a sea, so these have been brought up maybe for fill. We have found a number of nails. So we haven't treated this, so it's a little rusty. We found this old machete, machete sharpener. You can see it's like triangular. We've got an old spike, something of an old hinge. And then my son was upset because my daughter kept finding the nails and the pottery, and then he found this. And I'm gonna put the video of him finding this, because this was like, he was so upset because my daughter kept finding everything. And then he found the head of this. We found not an old spoon, we found a spoon in the garden, because my kids had a toy kitchen out there. So he was using the spoon to dig, and he found the head of this, and then it just kept going and going and going, and finally he just pulled it out, and he was like, what? So we have this. But this has just been really, really special. I mean, my kids are just really into it. I mean, there are other things that they're finding, like screws that were discarded when we built the chicken coop. And they're like, look at how old this screw is, and it's painted yellow. I mean, it's not old, but they're really, really into it, and they are convinced we're finding dinosaur bones, which we are obviously not. But I just love that they're so excited to find things from history, and that I really want to go to the Historical Society and just have them maybe even tell us what some of these things are, just for fun, just to get the kids engaged. So that was our term 6. Thank you for coming along for this crazy ride. No pun intended, if you can remember from the beginning of my video. But anyway, thank you guys for coming along on that very long journey with me. And we finished our last term of homeschooling, guys. We're done. So now we are no longer in our first year of homeschooling. We survived. Thank you guys so much for coming along on this whole year with me, if you've been here. And I look forward to bringing you along in the future for our 2nd year. So thank you guys for following. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye. Okay, take your time. Hold on, relax.
You're putting dirt in my eyeball. I'm sorry.
Missy, back up, please. I'm trying to take it. Oops, be careful.
How long is that dude? How long is that baby dude? Oh, there's more than...
Missy, Missy.
This keeps eating. Whoa. Guys,